Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Detroit Sports Sit Down. My name is Tom Murphy Jr. I have Dan Murphy and Joe Perry with me, and we are talking some sports. And it is March Madness. The Michigan State Spartans have advanced to the Final Four, and they beat the almighty Duke. Fellas, let's get right into this because what a game that was. What a game that was. Michigan State 68, Duke 67. Tom Izzo, man, there's so much talk. It was almost like it was going to be one-on-one with Tom Izzo versus Mike Krzyzewski. I mean, did it almost feel like that at all for you guys, where it was just going to be these two guys getting it on the court and playing one-on-one for a minute? There was so much hype about that. So much hype about the freshman from Duke. A big storyline for Michigan State was Tom Izzo doesn't have any first-round draft picks on his squad right now. Nobody on his squad is going to be picked in the first round, at least next season.
And they thought, Duke 4, and now it's... Now it's maybe
people are starting to question R.J. Barrett. I don't think anybody's questioning Zion.
No.
Nobody's questioning Zion. This guy, man, he's great. He's been fun to watch all season. And he really performed in that game. But the whole Michigan State squad performed. Man, this McQuaid kid.
Yeah, that spin.
He's a senior, man. He's been playing a lot of ball under Tom Izzo. But, man, this kid picked a time to really step up. How about Kenny Goins? Whew. From Warren. Man, he's a shot of his life, man.
Yeah.
Walk-on. He was a walk-on.
And they said over a 5-star recruit. Yeah. I think it was, or maybe it was a 4-star. As a walk-on, scored over a 5-star.
Yeah. And then how much can
go to the Final Four?
What do you say about Cassius Winston? Man?
Yeah.
Today is Tuesday, April 2nd, when we're recording, and it was announced today that Cassius Winston is a AP first team.
Someone said that. He reminds him of Chauncey Billups, and I kind of see that in his game a little bit.
Yeah.
He was a lot better than I thought. He had a great tournament, and he's a big reason why they're there.
He's a huge reason.
Yeah.
So, Dan, I want to bring you in here. What are your initial thoughts of just watching that Michigan State Duke basketball game? It wasn't winner take all. But did it feel like it? Did it feel like at all that whoever won that basketball game was probably going to go and win the whole thing?
Well, we said last week, right, that we were kind of talking about the seeding, and some people thought Michigan State got screwed, that they were in the same bracket with Duke, and that with Duke being the 1 seed, everybody thought they were the best team overall. And we all said, well, I kind of made the point, well, they're going to have to beat them eventually. Yeah. What difference does it make if they play them in the championship game, they play them in the Final Four, or they play them in the Elite Eight? They're going to have to beat them eventually. So we said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Yeah. And they went out and they beat the man. Duke was the man, and it was one hell of a basketball game. But Michigan State showed their toughness once again, and they came out victorious. And they're going to another Final Four.
Yeah.
It was really back and forth too.
It was.
That's what I liked about it.
That's the thing, from beginning to end.
Yeah, the whole game.
There was a couple runs. Like Michigan State kind of got the momentum right. Like started out the game with that fast break dunk, but then it was back and forth. Duke started kind of late in the first half, started to pull away a bit, but then Michigan State came right back with some real hard-nosed defense, some great plays, good shots, and they stepped up, and they had I think it was a couple point lead. It was like a 4-point lead going into halftime. When they were down 9 with 6 or 7 minutes left in the first half. Duke kind of showed some dominance for a minute, and you were like, uh-oh. If you're a Michigan State fan or just rooting for Duke to lose, you're sitting there for a moment, and midway through the first half, we're like, uh-oh, here we go. Duke's about to show here's all these athletes. And Zion, man, Zion was he looked unstoppable. Just muscling his way in for buckets and just making them. He had supreme confidence and was just making plays happen. But then that's what happened. Michigan State, they made a run. They did not go into the locker room being succumbed by Duke. They stormed back. It was fantastic to watch. It was great basketball. Like if you were just a fan of basketball, if you put your fandom aside and like whatever team you root for and all that, and you just watched players play basketball,
yeah,
from beginning to end, that was a great basketball game.
You know me, I'm not a huge basketball fan, but I was entertained the whole game just because it was back and forth, and you were like, oh, we're going to lose, and then you're like, oh, we're going to win. It just kept you on the edge, and like you said, Zion you didn't think, at some point you thought he was just going to take over the game and they were going to lose, but they just held in and they just played team basketball and hit the open guy and made baskets.
Yeah. And when you talk about Zion, man, 24 points, 14 rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a huge game. Like, I want to get more into Michigan State, but Dan, I want to get your thoughts on Zion, like on all the Zion hype. He's most likely, unless there's some crazy decision that he makes, he's going to declare for the NBA draft. And he's probably going to pick number 1. It'd be kind of shocking if he went 2 or 3, but it's possible. You never know when it comes to that type of thing. But
I think
Yeah.
You think it's going? You think there's no chance he's not going number 1?
Yeah. I mean, in this tournament didn't take anything away from him.
Yeah.
He was absolutely dominant in the most important moments. I mean, there was moments in this game where Duke needed a bucket. They gave him the ball, and he just powered his way through and got to the hole and made buckets. Like, he was everything you could ask for the kid to be in those moments and in these games. Like, he was dominant when he needed to be dominant. Like, he's a phenomenal basketball player, and he should be number 1.
So you think there's no doubt in your mind that he's the number 1 player in the whole country?
I think he's.
There's no reason for him to stay at Duke and polish his skills for another year.
No, God, no.
No, he's a number 1 pick.
No.
It showed that other players on that team should probably stay in college.
I say it's the other one I want to get to, man. The guy taking all the heat from the Duke fan, whatever you want to call them, the trolls, whatever it is. But RJ Barrett is getting murdered on social media right now. He was a player that was built like as great as Zion. He didn't get as much fanfare as Zion did throughout the season, but he got close to it. And then you throw in Cam Reddish, who he hurt his knee, but he still played 37 minutes. And he didn't start, but he played 37 minutes. So I think once he came on the court, I don't think he left. But it was RJ Barrett who got the ball at the end. He missed a 3, and then he famously now, like, especially in like Duke lore, this is going to go down. Like, the guy missed the free throw he wanted to make, and then he made the free throw he wanted to miss right at the end. And he's getting so much hate on social media. Where does RJ Barrett fit in this storyline as far as he's the one that got the shots at the end? Did Coach K make a mistake trying to go to Barrett? Why didn't Zion get the ball? Who might be the better player going forward with these two? And I think, man, you got to see RJ Barrett looked like the loser in all of this, and Zion is coming out a winner in all of this, even though the same team lost.
Well, that's because Zion played really good and Barrett didn't. I mean, that's the difference. It just showed. I mean, I don't think he's going to be what they were saying. He's going to be the second pick.
They're saying like Zion might go 1 and RJ might go 2.
But I don't think he might drop down a little bit. I think.
And do you think that performance, him missing the clutch free throws, might hurt him?
The whole tournament in general. I don't think he played as good. I think it showed how much weaker.
I mean, still, he dropped 21 points. He played all 40 minutes. 7 for 17, 3 for 6 from 3, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. That's a nice line in
it's
a
better
big
than
game.
I thought it was. Yeah.
21 points, but he missed the 3, and then he missed the free throw. Like, he's the one. When everybody's saying you should have given it to Zion anyway, because Zion looked unstoppable, man. He just went inside and he got buckets, man. That's all this guy did was get buckets.
If he didn't get the bucket, he got a foul.
Yeah.
So yeah, he probably should have got it, but
I mean, Barrett did get the foul.
Yeah.
He just didn't make the free throw.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He still drove to the lane, got contact, forced them to foul him, got to the foul line. I mean, that's what you want. He wasn't. It's not like he shot some terrible fadeaway shot at the buzzer and cost him a game. Like, he got to the foul line. He just missed the free throw.
How do you? So if you're an 18-year-old kid, and then, like, what would you say to him, like, as a coach, like already, like, he knows how crushing that was. Because the game, they were down by 2, 5 seconds left, and he misses the first one, and then he tries to miss the second one and it goes in. Wait, what do you tell a player, like, hey man, your future is super bright. Like,
his future's super bright, but you don't get to that point without him either. Like, Zion was hurt a lot of the year, and Barrett, helped to carry him to get to a number 1 seed. If he didn't perform the way he did all season, they're not in that position to begin with. Yeah. So I mean, that's what you tell him. What you've done all year doesn't come down to what you just did in those those last few seconds. Obviously, that's what people are going to remember. But what he did all season is what scouts are going to look at. Is what NBA is going to look at. Like, that's what matters. In terms of individually, that's what
winning time though, man. What you do in winning time? I think it could
still hurt him though.
Like
big moments. I think not much, maybe 1 or 2 draft picks, but that's it. Nothing like huge.
Because he missed some shots in one game.
in clutch winning time, and
then
you guys, like, do you got that clutch gene?
I think,
like, are you going to be the guy who just bricks the game winner all the time, or are you the guy who just nails that shot when it matters most? All eyes were on this. That Michigan State Duke, man, it was on CBS. It was like the whole country was watching. I don't know how many views. I bet there was 100 million, tens of billions. I don't know ratings, man. But I'm telling you, the whole country was watching that game, man. And he missed those free throws. Well, he missed, like I keep saying it, he missed the one he wanted to make, and he made the one he wanted to miss. And that's winning time. That's clutch stuff. So now people are gonna want to know when it's all on the line. Are you going to hit that shot, or are you going to miss that shot? And that could be the difference between being the number 2 pick in the draft and the number 8 pick in the draft.
I don't think it'll go that far, but I think maybe a couple spots.
A couple GMs might wonder.
You're going to have pressure on you every shot. And I was trying to look it up, but I feel like his free throw percentage isn't very good either.
Yeah,
it's only like 66%.
I was going to say, I think it's like 67. Yeah, he's just not that great at free throws.
To me, I think that could hurt him in the NBA as a draft, because
especially as a guard,
something like that
if you're going to be a guard, if you're going to be the guy that's handling the ball.
Yeah, so that's another thing that I thought once I heard that stat during the game that could hurt him going forward.
Yeah, but that's all I want to talk about the team that lost. Let's talk about the team that won for a bit. Michigan State, Tom Izzo. If Michigan State loses to Texas Tech, is Tom Izzo one of the best coaches of all time? And if Michigan State wins this whole thing and Tom Izzo gets his second championship, is he one of the best coaches of all time? And does it make a difference?
Man, I think at this point, especially this season, it was kind of like a redemption year for him, just overall. I mean, when you just go back, a year ago, with everything that was going on with the university, with the Larry Nassar stuff, the way he handled it when he went to the press conference, he didn't handle it very well. He wasn't comfortable. I mean, nobody's going to be comfortable in that type of situation, but it just didn't seem like he handled it very well. Didn't say the right things when the microphone was put in front of his face, and things were falling apart at Michigan State. Like, athletically, across the university, it was a very, very bad time. And then you combine that with them continually losing in the first or second round. They had the horrible loss when they were the 2 seed, got bounced.
Yeah, NBA talent on their team, guys that got drafted.
Yeah.
And then last year they lost to Syracuse, and just one of the worst coaching performances he's ever had in his career. And people are wondering, man, do you got it anymore?
Yeah.
Do you have it anymore? Is the game passing you by? Is Michigan and John Beilein passing you by?
Yep.
They lost 3 straight times to him.
Oh.
Then they come back this year, beat Michigan in their house. Right, that was really changing point. Beat them in their house. Nobody thought they were going to do it. Went in their house, beat them.
With the
right?
they were dealing with it.
I think Nick Ward was out.
Nick
Ward was out. Yeah, pretty sure Ward was out. And I know Langford was out.
Yeah, Langford was definitely out.
I want to say Ward was out too.
He might have. Man, I got to check the timeline. But he was definitely out the second game.
Regardless, they went in Ann Arbor and beat.
Oh,
them.
it was huge. Everybody
then it comes down. Final game of the year. It's Michigan State, Michigan regular season title on the line. Michigan State beats them. Beat them both times. Then they go into the conference tournament. They have to play Michigan again.
In the championship.
Now for the championship for the tournament title. And they beat them again. Beat them 3 times in 1 year.
I think Ward played, but minimal, and he definitely had the hurt hand. And Langford out.
So they get over that hurdle of Michigan kind of hanging over them. Beat them 3 times in 1 year to win the regular season title and to win the tournament title. Right, the only team in the country to do that.
And then they get jobbed. Like I said it before. Like I said it again. I think they got jobbed of not getting a 1 seed.
So then they go in Duke's region. Duke, a team that they're 1-11 against. Tom Izzo. 1-11. It's just that hurdle that he cannot get over. He cannot beat Duke.
They call it kryptonite, man.
They cannot beat Duke, and then they play him and they beat him. Get to the Final Four. It's a total.
Don't fast forward past the national controversy of the red hot Izzo yelling at a player. Don't forget the national controversy, man. That at that Bradley game, Aaron Henry got yelled at.
It was such a ridiculous story, but it also showed because all his past players came out to support him.
What do you?
Every single one, all over social media, and even the players on the team came out and supported him.
Some fight.
I think it gave him more ammunition. It gave more support.
I was going to say, it's hypothetical, of course, but do you think they would be where they're at right now if that gasoline didn't get poured on that fire?
I don't know. It didn't hurt. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It didn't hurt. All of it, I think, has just combined to this complete redemption year for Tom Izzo and Michigan State. And Michigan State as a university.
Who are left behinds, man. None of these guys are superstars, None of Cassius, the guy just got nominated to the first team All-American, and by all accounts, he's not going to get drafted. They're calling him one of the 5 best players in college basketball, and they're saying he's not going to get drafted. This kid's been playing with this whole time. Kenny Goins hits the big shot. He's a walk-on. He's a 5th-year senior walk-on. And then you got McQuaid, and then Henry, the kid who got yelled at. And these guys, man, and they basically played 5-on-5. If you look at the minutes, the starting five, with the Duke versus Michigan State game, it was basically 5-on-5. And these guys just played their hearts out. And they played one of the classic NCAA tournament games you're ever going to see. And Michigan State is that team. Us Detroit sports fans, we have our classics that we've won, but we're used to being on the other side of the classics. And me and Dan, we talk about this all the time where, man, why can't we just be on the right side of a classic, man? If you're a Michigan State fan, especially if you're a bleed green and white Michigan State fan, you got your classic. You beat Duke, and you beat them to go to the Final Four. You beat them with 3 freshmen who are probably going to get drafted in the top 5. They're probably going to go 1, 2, and 5. With Zion and RJ and Cam. You got Coach Krzyzewski just sitting there saying, man, that Cassius Winston's a good basketball player. You know, it's like you got your classic. Now, what are you going to do with it?
You got to win it to be a classic.
Dude,
I don't
well,
think so.
see, I don't think
I don't agree with that at all.
I don't think so. I think no matter what happens, I think this will be. This is Michigan State beating Duke. This is taken down.
I mean, it's huge. It's one of their biggest wins. But to me, to make it a classic, you got to win it.
I think the classic was made when the game was over. Now, whatever happens is cherry on top. Because what if they go on to beat Texas Tech, but then they lose to Virginia or Auburn in the championship? It's not going to be a fail.
If you go to the championship,
and what's going to stay in Michigan State fans' mind is beating Duke, finally slaying Goliath in that. And I think that will be now. If they go on to win the national championship, beating Duke is going to be even bigger. Just that stepping stone to win that second Izzo championship. But think if they lose, even if they get blown out, if they go and get blown out by Texas Tech, yeah, history might. But I think history is gonna have a huge stake on the fact that Michigan State won this game against Duke. Am I explaining myself?
Yeah, well,
right?
because college basketball is different in that sense that getting to the Final Four is the achievement.
Yeah.
The national championship is the cherry on top. But getting to the Final Four is what is kind of glorified.
Yeah.
And Michigan State getting to the Final Four by beating Duke in this classic it's always going to be special. No matter what happens after this, it's always going to be special. So anything after this, it just adds on to what has already been an incredible season for Michigan State. And they're going to raise a regular season championship banner. They're going to raise a Big Ten tournament championship banner, and they're going to raise a Final Four banner. Now, can they get the fourth one and get the championship banner? Maybe, maybe not. But either way, this is going to go down as one of the most special seasons in Michigan State's program's history.
Yeah. And now, Joe, let's hear from Tom Izzo and see what he thinks about needing another championship, a second championship for Michigan State's. Now, it'll be Tom Izzo's second championship. It'll be, if they win the championship, it'll be Michigan State's third championship. Let's not forget Magic Johnson, that glorious 1979 season. But this is Tom Izzo at his press conference today, Tuesday, about what he thinks about needing a second championship for him, for his coaching legacy.
I'd say they're right, because I need to validate it for me. I don't need to validate it for them. I have my own goals and dreams, and I have my own aspirations of what I want to do. And what I want to do is put Michigan State University in rare air. 2 national championships by the same school starts to separate you from the 40-some that have won one, and 3 national championships for the same school validates it even more. I keep talking about it puts you in a smaller fraternity, and but I've learned that people that question you are going to question you. The haters are going to hate you. All I got to make sure I do is what's best for my team and the university I work at, and I'm going to do that each and every day. And it really, 5 years ago, the fire and brimstone in me would have wanted to fight that person. Now I want to say, you know what, you're right. I don't want to say it to get him off my back. I want to say it because if that's your goal for me, I promise you my goals are bigger than your goals. Just like I'm sure that your goals for yourself are bigger than the ones I have for you. And what's neat about my job is I get to take things that are players' goals and I get to push them past what they even dreamed they'd be, because they're not experienced. They're not as old as us. They're just starting their dream. They're just starting their journey. And I get to help mold that journey. And hopefully, if you demand a lot and you get a lot, that's going to improve that journey as that individual goes on in life. And maybe he'll be a better president of a company. Maybe you'll be a better NBA player. Maybe you'll be a better father, you know. So my goal is to win as much as I can win the right way. My goal is to make as many people happy that are fans. And my goal is to make sure my players understand that to do great things, it's going to be very, very, very difficult. I was asked a good question this morning, and someone who interviewed me and said, how can it be where you could play the same game the entire game? You could be so good and a three-point shot goes in or doesn't. Look at Purdue's situation, you know. If he goes to a Final Four, he's done something they haven't done there in 40 years. They played so well. Matt did an incredible job, I thought. And a freak thing happens. Guy's trying to, you know, make it and he misses it or whatever happened on that. And boom, boom, boom. And now all of a sudden you're not as good. I think I'm past that stage. I was in that stage early in my career. It drove me crazy. Now I've matured a little.
I could listen to Coach Izzo talk for a long, long time, man. The guy, he's always been on the up and up, like as far as I can tell. And I've been watching Michigan State basketball for 25 years now. He just seems like a good dude. And I want to ask you this, Dan, as a hardcore Michigan fan, do you or can you root for this guy just as a human being, like watching him, and especially in this Final Four right now, and knowing that Texas Tech took out Michigan, and like now Michigan State is going up against Texas Tech to go to the championship? Can you root not even just for Michigan State, but for Tom Izzo?
Yeah, my fandom is nowhere near it used to be as a Michigan fan. As I've gotten into coaching and as I've gotten into kind of more the journalism, aspect of things as well with the website and everything, my fandom just isn't as intense as it used to be. But if just talking from what I imagine a Michigan fan base would think is, hey, this team beat us 3 times in the regular season. They beat us for the championship. They won the Big Ten, both the regular season, conference championship. You should root for these guys because the Big Ten has not won a national championship since Michigan State in 2000. So it's time for the Big Ten to get a title. This conference is too good. It's been too good for too long, and it needs to win a national championship again. Yeah. And it should be Michigan State. I'm personally rooting for him. And to go back to your question, was more about, do you root for Tom Izzo as a person? Even when I was a hardcore Michigan fan and hated Michigan State, there was still a part of me that really rooted for Tom Izzo because I just respect the man. He's just an incredible basketball coach, and the way he is able to take these young boys and turn them into young men and turn young men into leaders. It's incredible to watch, and incredible to watch how tough his teams are year in and year out. And they showed it again this year. How tough they are. They're not all this talented. They don't have these 5 stars. The 5-star they have is Hurt and Langford, and they just out tough these teams. That down the clutch when you talked about RJ Barrett wasn't clutch, making those free throws and making those big shots. Michigan State players are they make those shots. They're just tough as hell, and it comes from Tom Izzo, and it comes from the head coach.
Yeah, man, with Kenny Goins, man, he was not shooting well the whole game, and the play wasn't even lined up for him, but he was just open, and he took it and he buried it. And the storyline, he had offers to go to smaller schools, and he chose to walk on at Michigan State because he wanted to play for Michigan State. He wanted to play for Izzo. Grew up in Warren and just wanted to play at Michigan State. And fifth-year senior, buried is the biggest shot. And I don't want it's not the biggest thing in Michigan State history, but, man, it's up there. That shot is up there, yeah. Especially if they win the national championship. That shot is you're gonna if you're a Michigan State fan, you're gonna see that shot the rest of your life. The shot that beat Duke on the way to the 2019 national championship, Izzo's second championship. You're the 5th-year senior walk-on. Like that's the glory that he's going to come back every year for the reunion, man. Like the guy's never going to pay for a drink in East Lansing again. That's for sure. He's a meal, a drink, whatever he wants. He's good in East Lansing for the rest of his damn life.
I think Izzo does need to win this second championship to make him one of the greatest coaches, though. I mean, he's
in
up
East
there.
Lansing's mind, or
Just no national.
In national mind.
National mind.
Is he already
national mind? And it does. He is right, because it does put him in another class. And I think you need that second one to be in that class as one of the greatest. So,
yeah.
But he's close.
He read off the stats himself.
Yeah.
I was reading a thing about it today too, man. It's like 40 or 50 coaches that have won one national championship. I think there's 16 maybe that have won two, something like that. And it is, he said, that rarefied air. You get that second championship, especially with Izzo. He's never gonna. Obviously, he's never gonna top Krzyzewski. Nobody, I don't think. Like, I mean, you got like the John Wooden. I think that's really the only real argument: is it John Wooden or is it Mike Krzyzewski? Where do you guys I know we're getting off topic for real quick, but when you're thinking of the best coaches all time, and you got John Wooden with what he's done, and Mike Krzyzewski what he's done, has Mike Krzyzewski passed John Wooden, or is John Wooden too laid back in history to get topped? Like is John Wooden just like John Wooden, and he's like George Washington, and Krzyzewski's just like in his own. In his own thing, or are we talking about a greatest coach ever? And can Izzo ever be in that conversation? Like with Wood, like could it be John Wooden, Mike Krzyzewski, Bobby Knight, Tom Izzo? Could that be your Mount Rushmore?
I don't know. Maybe with a second or third win for Izzo, but I don't think so right now. I mean, I don't know. I didn't look at the numbers of all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's too hard without looking.
Well, that's
at all
what I'm
the numbers.
thinking.
Because I can't put Calipari up there because I know he cheats. I know it. Okay, so I'm not going to put Calipari up there.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're just talking about resume, he would be. But I
Not
can't.
really. Like he's only got one championship.
Does he only have one? I thought he had two.
And half of his Final Four appearances are vacated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So.
But he's done it with multiple schools. He's done it,
Yeah, anything he did with UMass doesn't count. Anything he did with Memphis doesn't count. And I'm sure by when it's all said and done, most of what he did with Kentucky isn't going to count.
They want to give him a lifelong contract. You hear about that?
Oh yeah. But that's what I'm saying. So so Izzo here he's up there, right? Like
I think he's up there anyways.
The greatest of all time. But he's got to get the second one. But even this win over Duke to get to the Final Four, I wonder if this win was so good for Izzo over Krzyzewski, over this team that Krzyzewski had, over to Zion Williamson, who, if Zion Williamson goes on to be the next LeBron, where is this one? Even if he loses to Texas Tech, this Saturday, people forget it. Whoever, do you remember who won the championship in 2009?
No, I mean
nobody does. You can go on that. People are going to remember this win. Michigan State, Tom Izzo taking a bunch of guys who aren't getting drafted over the Supreme team and Duke and Mike Krzyzewski. Like this win's going to be remembered, possibly more than if somebody other than Michigan State wins this championship. The win over Duke might be remembered more than the whoever wins the championship this year. I'm just saying that's a possibility. So I wonder where this puts Izzo, but I think we're all right where what he actually needs to do is win this championship. He wants to cement himself.
Yeah, you need more
greats.
than one for sure.
You got to have that second championship. That's what we're saying. He wants to put Michigan State rarefied air, and he's done that. With how many times this team's gotten the Final Four, man, Michigan State just seems like that was McQuaid's biggest influence for him for his own play was that he didn't want to be one of the guys who played for Izzo for 4 years and didn't get to the Final Four. Because everybody does it. Everybody, if you play for Izzo for 4 years, you go to the Final Four. At least one. I think there was one. There might have been. I think there was one series of players. I think it happened a couple years ago. But for the most part, everybody who plays for Izzo for 4 years goes to the Final Four. And McQuaid was in danger of that. And he just decides to contort his body through the air and throw this legendary Michael Jordan-esque.
I don't think he knew what to do, and he's like, I should probably shoot.
Gotta get into the basket.
Did you guys hear that? Like, he did pretty much the same thing in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody put something out. Yeah, it's on his high school mixtape. Man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did like something similar. Dude. The kid's a baller. But it's funny because people are like, "Oh my God, how did that happen?"
It's just because he looks so young. I think
he actually kind of did it before. But that's a player. But he said that was a quote of his. He's like, I had to play my best because I didn't want to let down the tradition, man. So, and like you said, Dan, it's a great point that getting to the Final Four is such an achievement. Where people don't always
two teams
remember
in this town back-to-back years.
Yeah.
Michigan did it last year, and Michigan State this year.
Beautiful thing. It's also a horrible thing losing that championship, though, man. Losing that championship game is tough, man. That sucks. And as a Michigan fan, man, we felt that. It's brutal, man. It's nice to know that we actually are the 2013 national champions, though, Michigan. Louisville.
There was
vacated.
There's just no winner in the game. Nobody won. The game was never played.
It was a foul anyway, man. Trey Burke got fouled.
What do you mean he got fouled? You mean the block was clean?
Oh yeah, sorry, the block was clean. Yeah, it was something, whatever. There was some kind of
so monumental.
I know, so monumental. but that's what. Yeah, he blocked. He blocked to do it, but they called the foul.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever it was. That was a long time
That's
ago.
why Dan remembers everything.
A lot of games ago, man. I just remember something made me mad. Something made me mad, and now I know they're a bunch of cheaters, so we're a bunch of winners anyway. That's the tournament, and here we are, the Final Four. One last question I want to ask you guys about this is I touched on it for a second, but then we kind of forgot about it, but I want to bring it up again. And this Final Four, like the Blue Bloods aren't in it,
And Michigan State's not a Blue Blood.
That's the question, like, because it kind of seems because a lot of the talk was the main story was Duke lost, not Michigan State won.
Yeah, it was.
And so the team that beat Duke is the Blue Blood, if you will, of these other teams. Well, Virginia. They've been a number one seed for a while, but they haven't really done well in the tournament. They've been good. Virginia's, they're a solid team. You got Auburn, and you got Texas Tech, and these teams are good teams. And I believe both Auburn and Texas Tech won the conference tournaments.
Yeah,
and so did Michigan State. Virginia got knocked out, and everybody thought they were going to lose again. They almost lost in the first round again, but. To my expense, I will admit that I thought Virginia was of the ACC getting 3 number one seeds. I thought they were the least deserving. Turns out I'm wrong because they're the only one that made it to the Final Four.
But they didn't have to go. They didn't have to go up against Michigan State. You know what I mean? Like I didn't think Virginia was in a very tough bracket. And that helps.
Hey, Gardner-Webb looked pretty damn good.
For a half, yeah.
In the first half. And Purdue, man, they ended up having to get at Purdue. They beat Purdue in a thriller. The game went to overtime, man. Mm-hmm. The game was a thriller. And Purdue is very formidable. But, if you're talking, basically, my question is it BS that there's haters out there saying that the NCAA Final Four isn't as great as it was in past years, or is there any problem with the NCAA basketball tournament? Because my thing is, what the hell are you talking about? This is the Final Four, and these are the teams that made it, and they all won great basketball games, and they're all playing great basketball, and we're about to have a great Final Four. Who cares who's in it? Like, if you're just a tournament fan, like I am, I just love March Madness. Do you need somebody to hate? Do you need to hate Duke? Do you need Kansas in there because you hate them? Like,
people just need something to complain about.
Yeah.
So, no matter what it is.
And I'm sorry that all these teams are kind of likable, except for Auburn. Because of why?
Because Bruce Pearl. It's a slime ball. He cheated at Tennessee, and that's why he got fired at Tennessee.
Fits right in the SEC, though, doesn't he?
With Calipari and all the other slime balls.
Even in football, too, man. You know the SEC, man. We hate if you're a Big Ten fan, if you're a fan of the Big Ten, you hate the SEC. Man.
I will say this about the Final Four, though. You got a Big Ten team, you got a Big 12 team, you got an ACC team, and you got an SEC team. Those are the big four conferences that have kind of been the top conferences for a while now, I would say. The Pac-12's kind of been down.
I was going to say, man, let's make a joke about the Pac-12, but actually, no. You said the Pac-10, so you don't even realize that it's the Pac-12. Because
I said the Pac-12.
I think you said the Pac-10. Can you rewind the tape? I think you said Pac-10.
Well, either way.
If you said Pac-10, it'll help the joke, because I was going to say,
I said Pac-12.
I was about to say, you forgot about the Pac-12. And the joke was, nobody cares about the Pac-12. But I think it said Pac-10. Hopefully. We'll rewind the tape. Or, folks, you guys can rewind the tape and see who's right. But, all things considered, nobody cares about the Pac-10, 12, whatever the Pac you call it. Nobody cares. Except for, I did think Oregon was going to make a run. Oregon was pretty good.
They didn't make a little run. Yeah.
And I always like Arizona for some reason. You guys like Arizona? Like, Arizona just seems like they're a team that's always going to be good at basketball. Doesn't it seem like Arizona should just be good at basketball? I don't know. Remember Miles Simon that one year?
Yeah, like 20 years ago.
I don't know. UCLA should be good. USC seems like it just seems like the Pac-12 should be better at basketball than they are. Whatever. Who cares, man? Because they're not in this year and they're never in. But you're right, man. They got like this. What we have right now, this Final Four. You're all right. They're. You got one from the ACC, one from the Big 12, one from the Big 10, one from the SEC, and they're all really good basketball teams. So what's the hate? Did you guys see this?
Because their team's not in it, so there's.
It's not that their team's not in it. Like I said, it's that the Blue Bloods aren't in it. I think Michigan State, especially if they win this year, not like they have to be that Blue Blood program now. They have.
It should be anyways.
That's what I'm saying. So it's not right to say that there's no superstar programs in the big Final Four because Michigan State's in it.
Yeah, Michigan State's the team. They have the pedigree, the program. You want to call them blue blood? They got the superstar coach. Has been there forever. Michigan State is that team. They're right in that echelon.
You guys know what I'm talking about when I say blue bloods.
Yeah.
If I say who are the blue blood basketball programs, who would you guys rattle off?
North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, UCLA.
UCLA is in there.
Well, yeah. We just said who the greatest coach of all time is.
That was back in the 70s, though.
Yeah, but they're still there. They won a title in the 90s too. I mean, they're still looked at as a blue blood basketball program.
UCLA.
I think Michigan's in there because it's Michigan.
They had the Fab Five as one of the greatest of all time, so they have that. Well, they have 89 for sure. And if you want to go back to the 70s with Cassie Russell, they were involved back in. There were some good teams in the 70s with Michigan. The early 90s, of course, with Fab Five, 89 with the championship, and then there was a long gap with Michigan though after the Fab Five with all the scale, but they've come a long way back. So now you would throw them in there and I agree with you with that, Joe. Would you agree that Michigan is in the upper echelon of?
I'd say
college basketball,
Yeah, I guess because in the last, 5 years, they've been... Has it been even longer?
Well, it's
6, I guess,
6
because
years.
13 was the first championship.
And then
right?
with, like you said, the Fab Five.
the Fab Five was huge. They are historic. The Fab Five is obviously historical. Didn't win a championship, but 2 Final Fours with a freshman squad and then a sophomore squad going to back-to-back.
I would say it's pretty close. I
think
don't know.
part of it too is kind of like
they're historical.
It's like how you look at the NFL or baseball or basketball. You look at media markets like as the teams. Like you don't call them blue bloods, but they're like the big media markets, right? Chicago, New York, Boston, LA. And then in college basketball, it's kind of like that in this sense, and it's the blue bloods. Well, it's Kentucky, it's Duke, it's UCLA, and I think Michigan's in there just because of their fan base and and just when you say Michigan and those colors are there.
See now,
everybody, people nationally, respect that. Oh, it's Michigan. Oh, it's amazing blue, and they see that and they're like, I need to watch it because it's Michigan. I think that's what people are. When they say like all the blue bloods aren't in it, that's what they're referring to. Like that team's in it. They see those colors. They see that logo. Like I gotta watch it. And Michigan State should be that.
They should be. And I think that like people should understand that Michigan State.
I think if you call it Michigan that, then you have to call Michigan State.
Absolutely.
I think they both are.
Question.
I think Michigan State is a
better basketball program. Yeah, you don't want to say, but that is.
I was going to say a bigger blue blood than Michigan is.
And even going back, they got Magic Johnson in the championship of the 70s. I think Michigan State is.
Magic Johnson beat Larry Bird in one of the most iconic college basketball games of all time. And that was the Michigan State player. The rivalry between Magic and Bird, and then you see Magic hugging Tom Izzo's wife, at the game, just like that. Like Michigan State is a blue blood. I'll put him up there. Michigan is less than, but still a blue blood, I think, in college basketball because of where they stand in history with what they did with the Fab Five. Well, with what they did in '89, because that story was that's where Bo Schembechler was like, I'm a Michigan man who's going to coach Michigan. Because Bo was the AD, and then dude took his job to Arizona State. Bill Friars. I forget the name. Whatever. But Steve Fisher was the assistant coach, and Steve Fisher took over that team in '89, and then they won 6 straight games and won the national championship. Nobody thought they could do it. That put Michigan basketball in the history, and then just a few short years later, the Fab Five came and all that history, and they set their mark on college basketball forever. So I think just what the Fab Five did puts Michigan as a blue blood, even though they went on there was a scandal, there were a bunch of down years, but then Coach John Beilein, started really bringing them back.
Yeah, he brought them back
to greatness. And so it's easy to kind of shorten that gap between the Fab Five and Beilein, even though it's like 20 years.
But I think they're both. I think they're both there, and I don't care what anybody says. They're both top 10 basketball programs, and people should want to watch either team nationally. And Michigan was there last year. Now Michigan State's this year, and it's awesome that we have this in the state because our pro teams suck.
And why are people talking about it, man? Why are we not a college Why is Michigan not a college basketball state? I think we are. But if you listen to the professional sports talk, it seems like people aren't calling in, or there's just not the hype. But when I talk to people, when I'm out and about in the neighborhood, people are talking about this stuff, man. People, I think we are a really good college basketball state.
I think people aren't calling in because there isn't a lot of things to bitch about. People call in the Lions because there's so much to bitch about.
That is
people
true.
call in about the Tigers because there's so much to bitch about.
Call in to bitch.
Calling about the Michigan football because there's so much to bitch about.
Yeah.
They can't beat Ohio State. They can't do this. They can't do that. Harbaugh's this and that and the other.
You're more
Michigan just wins. Michigan just wins, and when they lose, it's often the team was just better on that day, and you tip your cap. In Michigan State's, there's been some things to complain about with Izzo the last few years. They've had these early exits. Like I said, he redeemed a total redemption this year.
Think about that, man. People wanted his head, man. People wanted him gone. And then, especially, man, when you're losing in the first round and there's a scandal, we all know what do you want to call it? The tragedy is what we should call it. But with all that going on in the public relations and you lose it in the first round, whew. People wanted Izzo's head, not just locally, nationally. And now he's here again. And the program is here again. So, but ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are. Where are we at? A crossroads, a full circle. I don't know what it is with this Michigan State basketball program, but whatever it is, they're back in the Final Four. Tom Izzo and all his non-NBA players, man.
Yeah, it is crazy.
He does have the best point guard in the country, though, and this kid just knows how to win. Cassius Winston. Wins again. Cassius wins again. It should be his nickname. I don't know, man. But here we are. Final Four. We got a little bit of time left. And I want to switch to something that every year happens. Every year it's a local holiday. And that's Tigers. That's the Detroit Tigers. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about your Detroit Tigers. First of all, if you're listening here, can you even name the lineup off the top of your head? Probably not. I can't. I've watched 4 or 5 games, and I can't even remember these guys, man, half the time. I feel like I'm watching the movie Major League.
Maybe.
Who are these guys?
Maybe the first few games.
But, no. Truth is, look, opening day is upon us. Like I said, we're recording on Tuesday night. So opening day is Thursday. It's going to snow, probably. It's going to be like 32 degrees. And this team is projected to lose 98 games at least. Like the over-under is, are they going to be terrible or are they going to be a little bit less than terrible? It's pretty much where the over-under is at. So far, we've seen some pretty decent pitching, really bad hitting. We're going to switch this real quick to the fact that opening day is upon us. And guys, I want to ask you, normally this is like a local holiday. Tigers opening day is a holiday. Most work is shut down. Everybody takes the day off. Everybody's downtown. People that are lucky enough to get tickets to the game are paying way overpriced. And there's usually more people outside of the stadium than there is, and the stadium's sold out. Are we excited about this opening day?
Me, not so much. Because sometimes I do go down there. I'm not going down there this year. And then the Tigers, aren't expected to have such a good year. So to me, I'm not as excited. The thing I am most excited about that it normally signifies spring when the Tigers opening day hits. So I know the weather's going to be nice, but...
Oh, it might snow, dude.
Oh,
no, I'm dead serious about that.
Start to get nice.
Yeah, the weather's going to start, after opening days.
So I know I'm not as excited as normal, but I know somebody else is.
Yeah, this guy is.
Well, I'm not excited about the weather. It's been nice. It was supposed to be nice all week until that day. And then after that day, it's supposed to be nice again.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I've been to a snowy opening day, and it's still fun as hell.
Yeah. Just dress warm.
Just drink a lot.
Yeah.
Mittens, coats, layered up, sweatpants under your jeans. But it's still going to be opening day, Dan. But bring it home.
This is Dan's first
opening day. Bring it home here,
because
that's what I want. Tell me about you going to your first opening day and what your excitement is despite the negativity. I want to know what you're feeling about you going to your first opening day after all you've heard about what opening day is in Detroit.
You're going to be disappointed. What I have to say. The reason I haven't gone the reason I haven't gone opening day because to me it's not as special as everybody makes it out to be.
Because you've never been to one.
Okay, well, we'll see what it's like. But to me,
well, this one's gonna suck because it's cold and they suck.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I'll make a joke with you, but Dan, like, look, what I really want to ask you is, it's opening day and you're going. Like, what are your real feelings about this? Like, the weather's gonna suck, the team sucks, and you've known about
the team's 500.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they're like this
just
in
went
3 months, I'll
They
be
just
happy.
beat the Yankees tonight.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, in all seriousness, I'm looking forward to it because I want to see what the party's like. I want to see what downtown Detroit is like on opening day. That's what I'm looking forward to. In terms of the game, like itself, like I've never been like I got to get tickets for opening day because to me, I'm like shit. I'll just get tickets for the second game and.
Nobody cares about the game on opening day.
To me, that's what matters, though. Like, that's all I care about. Is the team going to win or lose? You know, like, to me, that's what matters. Like, I'm going to see the game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to have a good time, but to me, I want to see the game. So, like, I would always get the tickets for the second game of the year. And when they were good, I'd be like, oh, I'm seeing Max Scherzer for half off, 10th row. That's what excited me. That would be exciting me. I'm going to see Max Scherzer 10th row. You know what I mean? Not necessarily the opening day, but yeah, it's I have to go to one, right? I'm a lifelong Tiger fan. I got to go to one. So, I mean, yeah. So that's you're asking me what excites me. What I'm looking forward to is just kind of seeing what downtown is like, what the bars are like, what the atmosphere is like, and I'm looking forward to that and just enjoying it and having a good time. And I really was hoping that the Tigers would at least kind of come out of this with 3 or 4 wins on this road trip. Like, it would have really sucked if they wouldn't win like 0-7. Yeah, 0-7 or 1-6 or something. And it's already you're already feeling like the season's over before opening day even happens.
Yeah,
like that would really suck. So the fact that they've already won 3, we'll see what happens tomorrow. And if they win tomorrow and they're 4-3 going in opening day,
well, sure. I mean, yeah. As of tonight, they're 3-3, right? Yeah, sitting 500 as of this recording.
You go
cool.
Play 4 games in Toronto, 3 games in New York. I mean,
well, look, Dan. What I want to tell you is, I kind of anticipated what you're going to say, and I'm telling you, you don't. I'm not going to say you've missed out, but I'm going to tell you that, man, I wish you would have gone to opening day like 5 years ago, because opening day is something, man. It is.
Is it compared to a playoff?
It is a national local holiday. Like it's like Christmas in Detroit, man. Opening day, people just there's something about the people in Metro Detroit in opening day. It's the best party in baseball in the regular season. Like we have the best, and I say we on this because I've been to a few of them and I really understand what opening day is. And I know a lot of people who really appreciate opening day. And there's a reason why all the games are like all the tickets through the Tigers at least are sold out. They do it because, and then there's a reason why there's block parties. Like there's parties every bar in Metro Detroit is amped up and fully staffed.
Tailgates
from 9 in the morning until a few hours after the game. It's going to be Detroit is going to be the center of the universe for a lot of people, and it's just going to be fun, and everybody's in a good mood because it's Tigers opening day. It's a celebration of baseball. It's a celebration of summer. It's a celebration of life. Like, it's just opening day is so freaking special to not just Tiger fans, but just people,
all baseball fans, because it's everywhere. I know it's huge here.
No. But there's something special about the Tigers opening day. That's the Tigers opening day is the biggest opening day, and other people will tell you this. Like other national broadcasters, sports writers, people that have covered opening day for the other team, they. To a T, they would tell you they've never seen anything like Tigers opening day. There's just something about it. What bothers me this year and like even last year, is that it is dying down because they're just not that good. And there's a whole sense of Detroit sports that none of the teams are that good. So the whole system's kind of bogging down a little bit, and it's tough as a lifelong Detroit sports fan to see this opening day maybe be not as special as all the other ones. But from what I'm seeing, like, the weather's going to be cold, the ticket sales are a little bit low, the team's not as good. But Dan, I'm telling you, for your first opening day, you're going to see a party. You're going to see a party. You're going to see a Detroit party. They're going to have an opening day, and the Tigers are probably going to. I hope they play a really good game.
But playing Kansas City, they better.
You're going to see.
Kansas City sucks.
You're going to see Detroit throw a party like you haven't seen because we've gone to concerts together. You know, we've gone to big games together. You've seen, you've been in Comerica in the great, like when they beat the Yankees in the playoffs. Like, you know, we've seen great things at games, but for you not to have ever been to an opening day, this is going to be something different for you, and it's going to be fun. And for anybody who's never been to an opening day, this might not be the best one in history to ever go to because the team's not that good and the weather's going to be cold, but it's still opening day. It's still Detroit. It's still the Detroit Tigers, and I suggest that you make your way down there. Did I hype you up enough to be excited to go to opening day, or are you still thinking about selling your ticket?
Oh, I'm still thinking about selling it. I keep seeing that it's 30 degrees and snowing. Trust me, I'm still thinking about selling that.
That's the best I got, man, because I was trying to ask you, like, hey, do you still want to go, man? We could sell these tickets, right? Like,
trust me.
You could sell the opening. You could sell the opening day tickets. We could go to 2 games a month for the next 6 months.
Trust me, that's what I did. I've had opening day tickets.
I tell that story, man.
I've had opening day tickets before. The year they traded for Cabrera in the offseason, everybody was picking them to win the World Series. I bought season tickets and I got opening day tickets. Yeah. Well, I bought I shouldn't say season tickets, but it was like a 40 game pack, whatever the hell. And I sold the opening day tickets because there was so much buzz about this team winning the World Series and Cabrera and everything. And I sold them for like a ridiculous amount of money, and it pretty much paid off my whole season tickets.
Oh, see, so you sold 2 tickets to 1 game for 2 tickets to like 80 games.
Like half the season.
Oh, man. I know. It's beautiful. But, man, I'm telling you, opening day, it's special, man. There's something special about it. And you'll feel it, man. And I'm telling you, we'll come back next week, ladies and gentlemen, and we will talk about our experience at opening day. And I guarantee you would tell me that that's an energy you haven't felt before.
Or at least haven't felt in a lot of years. Yeah. Too many years.
Wow.
Playoff game.
Yeah, it's really cold fingers and toes.
Well, hey, cold fingers and toes, but it's opening day, man. I'm telling you.
No, it's a lot of fun.
Not at the gate, like outside of the ballpark. When we go into the ballpark and like the Tigers like get no hit, you know, like we're not gonna talk about that energy because this team is not that great. But they're pretty good, and there's always opening day magic. Like, man, I saw Miguel Cabrera hit a walk-off, man, on opening day.
Do you want to talk about this team at all?
Not really. I mean, do you guys, I mean, are they good? Who Joe, have you watched the game?
I watched a couple, but...
I watched a couple.
So I'll just say this.
I know they can't hit with just don't get anybody on base.
Well, Zimmerman.
Then they can hit the ball.
Zimmerman looks
as long as there's nobody on base, they can hit the ball.
So I'll just say this. Like,
Zimmerman looks good.
So the thing about baseball is you need, if you can get 2 or 3 good starters that are solid for you, you can compete. Like you can, and all it takes is a couple guys to turn it around and be like healthy. Like maybe Jordan Zimmerman hasn't been 100% until now. And now we're seeing like the real Zimmerman, the guy that they signed, the guy that they thought they were going to have.
A couple years ago, a couple surgeries ago.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he looks good right now. I'm not saying it's gonna be long term, but I'm just saying it could happen. Like, he could be the guy that they thought they were getting.
That's true.
A guy like Matt Moore was a big time prospect for the Tampa Bay Rays. Had a great rookie year. Then had some injuries, kind of fell by the wayside. He signed a 1-year deal.
So
He's
young,
looked really good.
25 years old.
Yeah, he's still a really young guy. He still has it. He was throwing like 95 miles per hour last time he pitched. Maybe he's a guy who fell through the cracks. Now he's healthy. Maybe he has a big year. You know,
oh my
maybe
God, are you doing this? All right.
I'm just saying that it could turn. I'm not predicting. I still think they're going to be 20 games under 500. But what I'm saying is you never know.
Less under. You think there'll be 20 games under 500?
Yeah, that's what, 92 losses. I mean, that's the under.
Right,
that'd still be the under, right? God. You said 98.
Wait. Oh, what? 162 games.
Oh, here's math.
So it would be, what, 71 and 91, I guess.
20 games under 500. I don't think that's bad.
They were over 30. They were over 30.
They're playing with the Royals and the White Sox, though.
They were last year. I'm just saying that's my prediction. That's most people's prediction.
But you're also blowing smoke up.
I'm saying it can happen. I've seen it. I've seen these things happen before. Yeah. That's what I love about baseball is you never really know.
What if Cabrera goes back to his
and he's an MVP
triple crown?
You know,
what if Castellanos learns how to play the outfield and hits 300?
What if Candelario
becomes an all-star?
You know. Those are all what ifs that need to turn out in the Tigers' way, right?
Yeah. But that's baseball. This stuff happens.
But it can happen.
It does happen.
And they got a good manager in Gardenhire. I mean, I'm not predicting it by any means, but I'm just trying to give people some hope that it can happen in baseball. And if they can be around 500 all year and play meaningful games into August and, God willing, into September, I will take that and run with it. I'd be so happy.
Just make it worth going to the ballpark.
Get us to football season.
Yeah.
Get us to football preseason and I'll do
it. The last question I want to ask both you guys is, so the Tigers are in a rebuild. Like, how long do you think this will take? Like, Joe, I'll start with you. Do you think the Tigers can be back in the next 2-3 years? And then Dan, I just want you to follow up with what Joe says. How long do you think until the Tigers are back to being in the ALCS? You know, and we're playing in October.
Well, you guys just said about the what ifs. It's if those what ifs actually turn into players. So it's really hard to say how long it will take for them to get to where you need to go. But it'd probably be at least a couple years. I mean, like I said, it's too hard to say with all the what ifs. They have made some good trades and some good moves. We just have to see if these guys can turn it around and be major league players. So to me, honestly, I have no idea on that question because
it's tough, man. Too many prospects.
Yeah,
man. You traded.
You never know.
You traded viable MLB players, and
they made good trades. They got good prospects.
And then it's your front office, so they got to use the front office making the right moves.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of like Joe said, a lot of these what ifs have to pan out. But what it comes down to is, and like I said, to start this whole thing, you need 2 to 3 starters to be able to compete. And they have a lot of starting pitching prospects in the minors. Now, what concerns you is that Michael Fulmer is a guy you're relying on to be, 1, 2, or 3 in the rotation. Tommy John, he's out for this whole year. He's probably going to be out most of next year.
There have been guys who've come back from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not saying he can't come back from it, but it's not a good sign. It's not. Yeah, it's not a guy you're counting on long term. And then the next guy,
real quick about Fulmer, I just want to hear your point on this real quick. Does it just really kind of bother you that the Tigers didn't trade him at the height? Because there was a lot of Fulmer trade talk last year, even the year before. Like, trade him at his peak. Does it bother you right now that
obviously, yeah. If I knew he was going to have Tommy John.
No, I'm saying, not that he does it, but did you think at the time that you should have traded him?
At the time?
No.
God, I don't even know what my question was.
I know what you're trying to say. I know what you're trying to say. There was a lot of people that said they should have traded him because the rebuild was going to take so long. that you can get, instead of just having one guy that you're going to rely on, you can have 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But to me, like I've said, if you can have 2 or 3 solid pitchers at the top of your rotation, you can compete. And they were depending on Fulmer to be that guy. He won the Rookie of the Year. He was up there in the Cy Young voting his rookie year. Like, he proved it, that he can be that type of guy. Injuries derailed it and have derailed it, unfortunately. So I can't disagree with them not trading him.
I was going to ask, if you were the GM, would you, at his peak, would you have traded him?
I would have made the phone calls.
I think
I would have done my due diligence. If I would have gotten a really good package in return, yeah, I would have traded him. But you would have had to get at least 2, sure bet prospects in return.
Like top 10 pitching prospects.
But he was so cheap too, and that's what you try to get for a trade. So I was kind of against it at that point too, just because he was so cheap. And then that's like gold. He was gold. Yeah. So it was hard to get rid of that. So I don't blame them for not.
But
now that we know what we know, yes, we wish they would.
To continue how long this rebuild's going to take, another guy they got that was supposed to be a prize prospect was Perez, the starting pitcher prospect they got from
Perez,
and now he's hurt again. He's out 4 to 6 weeks with, I think it's a shoulder injury. It's like, God, so that guy's another example, because you just don't know. That's why you load up on these starting pitching prospects, because a lot of them, their arms are just not going to hold up.
And there's a guy that just retired, dude. We traded him we traded Justin Upton for him, and he just retired today. But it's just another prospect.
But that's what happens when you trade.
Yeah, man. That's what prospects are.
You're trading for lottery tickets.
You never know. Yeah, exactly. You're trading for lottery tickets, man. And it's just so. Like, what are you gonna like? You trade? Yeah. I think it was Grayson Long, might have been his name, but either way, it doesn't matter because he was just a prospect and he's done now, and it's just a guy who never panned out, and he's the guy that we traded Justin Upton for. But it gets frustrating. But you can't, as a fan, you can't be frustrated about prospects, right? Like, you hope that they pan out, but you can't get mad. Like,
well, what you're frustrated about, and what everybody should be frustrated about, is the fact that you're seeing Justin Verlander in the top of the Cy Young in the American League every single year. You're seeing Max Scherzer in the top of the Cy Young every year. And you're seeing J.D. Martinez winning MVPs. Yeah. That's what should piss you off. Those guys should be Tigers right now. And instead, they put all their money into Miguel Cabrera and Victor Martinez, who everybody knew their best years were behind them.
Not Miguel. Victor Martinez, yes, but
why not Miguel?
10-year contract,
why not Miguel?
Yes.
You
knew that contract.
What did the
Triple Crown winner?
What did the Cardinals do with Albert Pujols?
Yeah,
I mean, the face of the franchise. Face of the franchise.
Angels.
They didn't swindle anybody. He was a free agent. They was a free agent. They let him walk.
No, you're right.
Face of the franchise. Face of the franchise. One World Series. One MVPs. One World Series.
And
Miguel Cabrera didn't win a World Series here. Like
the Cardinals are in the World Series. They're at least in the running every year.
Yeah. Why? Because they have incredible management, and they said, "Hey, this guy's best. We got his best years." His best years are behind him. The years going forward,
for him.
You're going to have to way overpay for him. He's a first baseman. He's just going to crumble. It's exactly what happened. And now look at the Cardinals. They're still contending every single year. And they go, who did they just go out and get? Paul Goldschmidt, one of the best first basemen in baseball. They know what they're doing. The Tigers completely bundled this whole thing.
I thought I saw Goldschmidt. Did he hit 3 home runs? Or something
Probably
like
did. He's awesome.
Or something crazy.
And Albert Pujols is just a absolute shell of him for himself.
But
making the same amount of money.
Wasn't that your boy who did all that? Dombrowski?
Oh, yeah.
Dombrowski, St. Cabrera? No, well, what? That was Illich more than anybody.
It was, yeah. But you got to love him for it, man. You got to love Mike Illich for
some of it,
for trying to go out and get Prince, because if Prince Fielder would have worked out.
Well, what if
like that, man?
What if Illich would have said, "Hey, you can go out and spend $20 million more a year on the salary," and then Dombrowski would have had that in his budget to start the offseason instead of in February. Hey, Prince Fielder's out there. Victor Martinez just got hurt. Hey, go ahead and spend it. You can spend it now.
And then you
what? Now all of a sudden that $20 million a year is just opened. We can just spend it now. Like, if Dombrowski had a better idea of what the budget was, maybe he could have spent that $20 million on.
Do you know? Come on. Do you know that that's what the?
They spent $20 million. They went out and got Prince Fielder in February.
Yeah.
Just on a whim.
Yeah.
Like, he could have built the team better if he knew what the budget was. I'm not saying Dombrowski's perfect.
He
made some mistakes.
Saying, like, you don't think Ilitch was like, oh, this is the budget? You think Dombrowski didn't already have that money, and then it's just
$20 million. Why wouldn't he have spent it? Why wouldn't he have gone out and got more relievers? Why wouldn't he have built the team?
Yeah, all right.
He wanted home run hitters. I feel like Dombrowski. He wanted the big bat.
I don't know,
on a big field.
It's tough. It's tough because
I'm not a Dombrowski fan. I know you like him.
I'm a Dombrowski fan because I'm a fan of the whole program that they had. They tried to win. They tried to win.
They did try to win.
That's what I love.
They did try to win.
The whole group tried to win.
No, you're right.
I'm just going to say this one thing about Dombrowski, and we're not going to get into it further. He won a World Series with Florida. Built a team from nothing, won a World Series. Had to break it all down. Built it back up again. He ended up leaving, but he built that roster. They won another World Series. Comes to the Tigers. Worst team in American League history. Builds that team up in 3 years from being the worst team in American League history. They go to the World Series.
Yeah.
10 years of competitive baseball. He leaves. They suck. He goes to Boston, wins the World Series.
Yeah.
But I think part of him leaving, if he stayed, they would have sucked anyway.
But it is
he made
money.
Some of those contracts.
Yeah, well, it comes. He gets money to spend, man.
He got a lot of money to spend.
That's what it is. Because in Miami, he was able to. Was there money down there in Miami?
No,
not a ton.
No, they don't spend.
I know right now they don't spend money.
No, they don't spend a lot.
But they're spending money. They were spending money in Detroit. They're spending money in Boston. So, is it right place at the right time? Probably a little of both.
Yeah. It's got to be everything all working together.
Do you think if Dom Dombrowski was in Oakland, would he win a World Series?
No.
Where they spend like 10% of the payroll every year or whatever they do?
He wouldn't.
Who knows, man? I don't know.
They would just never come to agreement. Like, that would just never happen.
I don't know. Look at when Miami won the World Series with Miguel Cabrera. Look at that roster. Look who drafted them. Look who got those players. Look who built that roster.
That's a lot of luck, man. When it comes to baseball play, like especially when you're drafting. When you draft, what is there? 100 rounds in the baseball draft. You draft in baseball, the minor leagues, man. You get them to the rookie ball and the A ball, then AA, AAA, man. But I mean, you're right about a lot of it, though, man. The guy is a winner, and he's been winning.
But the important thing is he's not here. Well, and a lot of the guys that should be here are not here. Yeah. And they're all successful.
Shoot, a lot of the guys that should be here are on his team in Boston.
Yeah, well, that too.
The good players are over
Tigers there. East. Hopefully the Lions become the Patriots West. We could Boston, Detroit could have this trade back and forth where we give you our baseball players, you give us our football players.
I doubt that'll happen.
Oh God, I don't know how would you start winning, ladies and gentlemen. This is our 50th podcast.
I didn't know that.
This is number 50. Feels pretty good, Dan, Joe. I want to thank you for 50 episodes. And I hope for 50,000 more. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. 50,000?
Too late.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Detroit Sports Sit Down.